So we've gone through protein and carbohydrates, so we're going to move on to fats today. Now, during the 80s and 90s, much like carbs are today, fats were the most vilified type of nutrient. They were blamed for the obesity crisis that was getting worse and worse at the time. Now, as we know today, fats themselves in isolation are not the cause of obesity. They're actually pretty essential in your diet. And there's a few reasons they're essential. They're essential for vitamin uptake. So there are certain vitamins that can only be transported around the body in the presence of fat. So they're a very essential source. They're a good source of energy for the body as well. But the problem with fats, which is what needs to be taken into consideration, is they are very calorie dense. So per gram of fat, you are looking at 9 calories per gram, compared to protein and carbohydrates, which are both 4 calories per gram. So you can see they're more than double the amount of calories for the same amount of size, basically, for the same amount of weight. So certain things that are great sources of fat, sort of nuts, avocados, seeds, and certain types of fatty cuts of meat and fish, like salmon and beef. Now, obviously what you need to make sure is that if you're on a diet where you are perhaps looking to lose weight or fat, is that you are controlling the amount of fat that's in your diet. Now, if you are eating a big handful of nuts each day, it's going to be particularly high in calories, maybe 200 to 300 calories per handful. It's not going to be particularly filling, and it's going to be very easy to go over your daily calorie goals. So you need to be aware of how much fat that you are taking in. Certain cuts of meat, like beef and salmon, obviously are going to be very high in calories. So even though they are great sources and ones I would definitely recommend having in your diet, for most people I wouldn't recommend putting them in every single day, and I would definitely recommend keeping an eye on how much oils that you are using in things. Now, coconut oil is one that seems to be banded around as the best thing since sliced bread, and it's being put into everything along with butter. So butter in coffee, there's a very popular type of diet that has come out recently, which recommends putting butter in your coffee. Now, we know butter is purely fat, and we know that fat has 9 calories per gram. So adding in a bunch of extra calories to your drinks, it's not really going to be a great idea if losing weight is your goal. So you may hear about different types of fats that there are, and whether perhaps one is particularly worse for you than others. Now, there are saturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats, and trans fats. Now, saturated and unsaturated fats, you really don't need to be too worried about how much of them you are getting in your diet. The main thing you should be trying to avoid is too much trans fats. Now, these are the manufactured fats that are added into certain foods, like fast foods, cakes, certain sweets, etc. Now, those are the ones that are detrimental to your health, but I don't think you would be signing up for these emails and looking to train at a gym if you were perhaps over-consuming on fast food, and it's just common sense. You know that that's not going to be a great way of using your calories if you're looking to improve the shape of your body and improve your general health. So yeah, just a little bit of info on fats. The things really to make sure of are that you're not over-consuming them, because it will bump your calorie intake up very high, and that you're not over-consuming on fast food, because trans fats are not great for your heart health. Things you probably knew already, but it's worth mentioning again. And certainly, like carbohydrates, it's not something to be afraid of, just something to be mindful of in the scope of your whole diet. So yeah, hopefully that's been of use to you, and I will see you tomorrow.